Welcome back to the Manor. Julian McBain here, and today we are going to be hunting curbs on Jura Plateau. But before we start, if you're new to the channel, welcome to the Manor. Please take a moment and subscribe down below. We are on the road to 13 million subscribers, one subscription at a time, so make sure you subscribe. Also, please consider going over to patreon.com/JulianMcBain if you want to support my work. For just $5 a month, you will get unlimited access to my book, The Modern Entropian. And as soon as the book is done, you'll also get a copy of my new ebook, Personal Finance for Gamers. I should theoretically have it done before August. Okay, so let's talk about the Kerberos in the room. I'm seeing this go around again. I'm getting kind of irritated by it. My buddies, I made a video like this last year. I know, other content creators do these regularly, but it's got to be repeated. You always hear the question, or people make the claim that Entropia Universe is a scam. Entropia Universe is not a scam. Alright? And I'm sure that there are those out there who have lost money, especially when hunting, or mining, or they're not hitting their globals or their HOFs. Maybe they're dumping money in, but they're not getting as much back as they thought they should. They're participating in mayhems and not having the returns they expected to see. Or because they're doing mayhems, they're dumping a lot more cash in than they originally were. Huh. Okay. Well, newsflash, that's kind of part of the game. It's in this wonderful thing called the Terms of Service. The algorithm, the Ludius algorithm, is not designed for MindArk to be just giving you money. That's not how it works. If that was how it works, this platform would not be 17 years old. Basically, you can expect a diminished return from what you originally put into it as loot. The remainder of that money goes into your skills. Your skills are saleable. There is a method to do this. If you want to make money off of it, you can sell your skills to other players. And guess what, folks? There's a market for skill points. Other players will indeed buy your skills. Okay? You, the player, will not make money by selling your shit to the TT. Why? Because when you sell your stuff to the TT, MindArk is giving you money out of the player debt fund, which is the amount of money that all players have put in that they could ostensibly and theoretically take back out. Every time you depot, every time you buy ammo, that increases the player debt count. Okay? When MindArk goes to pay their employees, well then how do they do that? Glad you asked. MindArk does it by taking the money that people put in for repairs. That money is removed from the game and pays things like the electrical bill. Now, there is a presumed tax on all of Calypso. And I believe that that is the case, and I would say that it's probably anywhere between 6 and 10%. And it might even vary based on the location or the number of players in. But keep in mind, MindArk owns the platform, runs the platform. Calypso is a business unit within MindArk that operates the planet. Now, it might be the same staff, but there are different needs there. Calypso operates a lot of servers. Those servers take a lot of power. Okay? Can't just have free gaming. Those games that are free, they make all their revenue off of ads that they constantly spam at you. It's really fucking annoying. Do you want Entropia Universe to be spammed with ads? No? Then stop your whining. Okay? It's that simple. Our choices are, we allow for the fact that there's going to be some diminished returns. We're going to have to pay some taxes to MindArk. And in return, we get to play this game. Now, and that goes for other planet partners too. Like Monria is the famous untaxed moon. No taxes at all across the moon. And that's awesome. I believe they make their money off of the repairs on their on Monria. I can't say that for certain. I know they've got a different contract, but I'm pretty sure all of the planets where you repair, that's how they pay their bills. Because guess what, kids? They have to pay for electricity and developers too. And nowhere, while their advertising is always like, you know, you can make real cash profits, which is categorically true. You can absolutely make profits in this game. And you're like, well, I don't make anything. I keep getting my loots and I'm TTing them. Markup. Find the creatures that have loot that has good markup. And then you sell the loot to other players. And that's how you make money. I made quite a bit of money off of selling those LP40s that I got off of Mayhem. I think I got 3. I had 2 in this Mayhem and 1 in the previous Mayhem. And if you don't get the good loot, it's probably because your looter professions are too low. Try hunting something that's a little less, a bit lower level for that creature type. So like if you're going after robots, start in Orthos and hunt there until you're pulling, you know, huge amounts of Rubios and Azuros off of robots. I've got a whole stack of them in my damn storage because I haven't taken the time to sell them yet. And then you resell them. You know, Rubios go for like, they're only worth 9 pack, but you can sell them for anywhere between 12 and 18 pack. You won't find better markup anywhere, you know? It's not that hard. It really isn't. You just have to have a little bit of sense. Watch the market. Look at what things are going for. Sell your mats. You know, these things. Not your shrapnel, but like the animal muscle oil. When you've got between 50 and 200 pet for a stack. You're not going to make huge money off of selling mats, okay? It's just like mining ores. You're not going to make a huge amount of money off of mining ores. If you want to make money in this game, this is how players have made money without, you know, owning a land area. There are 2 types of people. First type, and this is a Dan Lockeism. The first type are the miners. They go digging, they pull up the ores, they hope to make it rich. They trade in what they gather up. And that's actually extremely true of the miners in this game. That's exactly what they do. They gather the ores and end matters and they resell it to the populace. Generally for ores it's going to crafters. For end matters it's not just crafters. There's a lot of oil to be had in that, and so you sell it to anyone who has a vehicle. Motherships, I think, technically buy up the majority of the oil that goes on market because they're flipping massive. Per unit vehicle, they'll buy the most. Of course, there's so many quad wings out there that, you know, if you're prospecting minerals, oil. Sorry. In this game, it's considered end matters, not minerals. If you're prospecting minerals, damn it, end matters, then you're going to make low profit, but you're going to have huge volume, just like in real life, you know. A barrel of oil goes for, I don't even know what it's going for yet. I think it's in the negatives. Like I was able, let's check out what the IRL is. $40.81 for a barrel of crude. In this game, it goes for like a peck TT value per barrel. Or per unit, technically. They don't say how many units are in a barrel, but per unit, right? 2 units will make a single unit of usable fuel oil, which makes me assume that everything's running off number 2 diesel. If it sells for, when I don't have any oil on me, do I? Negative. If oil sells for 102, and you're selling 100 ped worth, you're going to get 102 ped back. If you're constantly mining that, you're just going to have improved ped return. That's all it is. It's all about the volume. On the other hand, you have the shovel sellers. These are the people who are crafting the finders to go find the oil and the amps. Or in the case of hunters, which is where the real money is, the guns. Because just like in real life, there's a lot of money in armaments in Entropia Universe. There are people who have made their living off of crafting guns in this game. There's that in real life too, but we're talking Entropia Universe. Make the swords, make the knives, make the firearms, make the laser rifles, make the armor, facilitate other players playing the game, and they will give you money. Why? Because you're solving a problem. Newsflash, this is a platform, not a game. Just because it doesn't play the way you expect it to doesn't make it a scam. Okay? And there's one other specific one that I need to address, because this one really ticked me off. If you don't understand how banking works, don't bitch about Mindark being evil. Okay? And I'm not going to call out the specific person, but I gotta call out the behavior. We have terms of service. In that terms of service, it tells us what fees we end up paying, what penalties we might have to pay, what will get our account suspended, right? And when it comes to account suspension and elimination, Mindark is extremely judicious. Like, they recently suspended like 28 players for using a developer weapon. And yeah, they reset their avatars, but they could have just outright banned them. That was fair, and they did suspend their accounts for 9 months, but still, overall, that was a pretty lenient sentence for taking something that, you know, was completely game-breaking. It's like when those players found Bethesda's developer room. And so yeah, they paid the penalty. It's in the terms of service. Mindark could have just gone, but they didn't. They just reset the skills. And so yeah, Mindark is going to get a chunk of change out of what those skills were worth. And so that'll basically count as a fine. But things like, there are other things like the withdrawal fee that you pay and the deposit fee that, wow, Julian, fee that you pay are all built in to pay for things like, I don't know, international banking fees. And I did see one post that someone was upset because one of their attempts bounced back. And so they got charged a high amount. It was like $70 US. And it's like, yeah, you're transmitting money overseas. The wire fees alone are $35 a pop. If it bounces back, they got to pay that a second time. And I'm serious about that. To wire money anywhere, you're paying at minimum $35 US. If you're not in the US, check with your local banking authority. And wiring money is not cheap because it must, by its very nature, be guaranteed to reach its destination. And I'm pretty sure that's the law in all jurisdictions. Wired funds are guaranteed funds. You transmit the wire, the funds are guaranteed to reach their destination. It's just like a cashier's check. You pay that $10 fee to get the cashier's check everyone bitches about. It's because those funds are guaranteed. The bank is obligated to pay those funds to whomever presents that check for pay. Or, no, that's not entirely correct. The bank is obligated to pay out those funds to whomever is on that check. Period. Dot. That's why you have to buy it ahead of time. Cashier's check can't bounce. Only under very specific circumstances, all of them involving major legal, like, law enforcement issues, you know, suspected fraud, suspected money laundering, suspected funding of terrorism. Good thing I'm not monetized. Suspected funding of criminal activity. The bank can put a stop on it. If the purchaser puts a stop on it, that can be stopped too, assuming it hasn't been deposited yet. Not much else. Wire transfers are the same way. And believe me, if a wire transfer gets returned unpaid, you're paying the wire fee out of MindArc's bank account and back into MindArc's bank account. That's $35 a piece, kids. 35 and 35 is 70. It's in the terms of service. And that brings me to the next point on why Entropia Universe is not a scam, and categorically so. Okay? Terms of service. Everything in this game is laid out in the terms of service. And guess what? We all have access to the terms of service. In fact, they pop up every time we go to log in. It's that wonderful gray box that pops up that we all find kind of annoying, that we can't even get into the launcher without looking at it. Those are the terms of service. Now, here's the funny thing about terms of service. Terms of service are a contract. And every time you hit the I agree button, you are agreeing to the contract. Read the contract carefully. All of the terms must be in the contract, and if it's not in the contract, it's not agreed to. As it happens, I'm pretty sure that one of the things you agree to is binding arbitration over court. Now, I need to kind of go into this for a second. I am not an attorney. I do not practice law. I am not licensed to practice law in any jurisdiction. However, my job necessitates that I work with contracts daily. And so I am intimately familiar with contracts. I've actually considered going to law school just so that I can understand these contracts even better than I already do. And I make it a point to educate myself on how these contracts work. Similarly, the terms of service is a contract. So let's talk about the type of contract the terms of service are. And for those of you who are in law, who are practicing attorneys or barristers, I'm hoping you're all nodding your head, or I really hope you correct me in the comments. Keep in mind that my comments here are based on United States law, not based on European Union laws or the laws of Sweden. They might operate differently, but I'm willing to bet they're fairly similar. So please make sure you refer to your local legal source for any specifics. But that being said, let's talk about the way this stuff is handled in the United States. And I'm going to again reinforce that I am not an attorney. A terms of service is what they call an aleatory contract. I'm going to make sure I'm actually pronouncing that correctly. Aleatory contract. I'm 99% certain that's how it's pronounced. An aleatory contract, and you can look this up on Investopedia. It also happens to be in a lot of the books I had to read to take the test for the licenses that I have or have had. None of which are licensed to practice law. None with an N. None with an N. An aleatory contract is a contract where only one party makes all the rules and it's presented to the other party. So party A makes all the rules. That's the seller, usually. Party B is offered the contract on a take it or leave it basis. That would be you, the purchaser, also known as the player. So party A is MindArc, party B is you. By accepting the contract and paying any associated fees, the contract goes into force, and you agree to abide by the terms of the contract, as does the other party, MindArc. Funny thing about aleatory contracts, I know that in the United States, and I don't know about the jurisdiction you live in, aleatory contracts come with a powerful tool for the person agreeing to the terms, i.e., if there are any discrepancies, they are always held in favor of the person who didn't write it, party B. That would be you, the player. So people who write aleatory contracts are extremely careful to make sure that the terms of service or the terms of the contract are explicitly clear. That includes all fees, costs, and other things associated with operating under the contract. So if you don't understand why something happened, go read your damn contract. It's also worth noting that you should do the same thing in any contract. If you're going to go get a mortgage, read the contract. A loan document, read the contract, because that's what it is. That's what a loan is. It's a contract. Read the contract word for word, top to bottom. Yes, it's going to take you a long time, especially if it's a mortgage. I've actually read through a mortgage contract. The fucking thing's a book. It's like 500 pages long. Okay, it's not quite that many. It's 250 on average. Yes, I've had to read these stupid things. Every term is laid out because it's an aleatory contract. Take it or leave it. You can negotiate certain terms, but you sure as hell aren't going to be negotiating a whole lot out of a mortgage. And by terms, I mean percentage rates, payment amounts. That's it. Everything else is take it or leave it. Aleatory contract. It's incredibly important that you do read such contracts that include your terms of service. Because otherwise you're going to think you're getting scammed, and all you had to do is open your eyes and do your due diligence and be an intelligent, informed human being to realize that, oh, it's in the contract. Contracts are amazing things. They're extremely powerful. Unfortunately, most people blindly just accept them. Every video game you play, every single one of them, every last video game you play in the modern era has a contract associated with it. It's called and it's either called Terms of Service, like it is in Entropia Universe, because EU is a Swedish game and they use the phrase Terms of Service, or the End User License Agreement, EULA. Every game has one. You always agree to it, and I guarantee you've clicked half of them blindly. In fact, there was a case where one game company included a clause somewhere in the body of their EULA that the players sold their soul to, or gave their soul to Satan. Guess what? Some 500,000 people gave their souls to Satan because they don't read the EULA. They don't know their remedies. They don't know that they're, what their rights are, or what the restrictions they're agreeing to on those rights, because you just don't pay attention. And you know what? I know. I'm being really harsh. I'm being harsh because I'm a little irritated. I have a whole video that's me being a lot nicer about why Entropia Universe isn't a scam. In fact, I'm going to be really nice, and I'm going to drop a link to that video in the description below. So if you want me to be less harsh, click on the link below and go watch that video instead, even though you've made it about 2/3 of the way through this one. I'm fed up, guys. I am. I'm tired of having to defend the game. And it's not because it's not worth defending. It's absolutely worth defending. Mindark's worth defending over this. No. Mindark is guilty of many things. Being a scam is not one of them. Okay? You gotta read the contract. When someone hands you something, you just sign off on, well, obviously you do, because we do it every time we log into the damn game. Did you read the terms of service all the way through before the first time you did it? I double check it at least once a year. Make sure I'm actually agreeing to the same things I used to. Because guess what? Terms of service can change. Because you agree to, especially in this game, because you agree to a new contract every time you log in. You have to agree to it every time. That's Mindark being smart. In most games, if you agree to an EULA, and they change the EULA, they may not be able to enforce the change, depending on the jurisdiction and how they word it. In this game, you agree to it every time. So they could throw all kinds of different things in there, and if you're not reviewing it periodically, that's on you. So no, Entropia Universe is not a scam. You just got to play it right. And on that note, there's all kinds of guides out there on YouTube on how to play Entropia Universe right. Where content creators like me, including me, go out and test out theories and figure shit out so that you, the other players, don't have to. You can also go to Planet Calypso, the Planet Calypso forum, and the Monria forum, and the Cyrene forum, And I'm pretty sure there's a forum for the other planet partners as well. Players are your best resource, guys. People are your best resource. And I think that's something that most people miss. Leverage people. Leverage the other players to help you out. You're going to have a hell of a lot more enjoyable experience. Probably a whole lot less stress. Okay, that's it. I'm done. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe down below. We are on the road to 13 million subscribers, one subscription at a time, so make sure you subscribe. Guys, I'm sorry for the rant, and I really appreciate all the support. We'll see you in the next one. Subscribe!